Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Franti.
Advice. People that you can trust that are accountable to Santa Cruz, accountable to you, accountable to us and the APRG group, America's Professional Resource Group. And Chris has been a phenomenal piece of APRG.
Yeah, and Don, one of the things that's really interesting, as you mentioned, we're both working with Chris, and some of our friends and family are also working with Chris, as well as some of our work colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, he couldn't even get to the studio. He had to get stopped.
He got intercepted, yeah. I bet you he was scared to come in here. He was like, oh, no, I have like 8 clients in here. No, no, he wasn't scared at all. But that's the thing, too, is like there's so much more to it. Like you mentioned, accountability, trust, especially for what you do, Chris. Trust is a huge factor, and you have to not only trust in what we see on a day-to-day basis or in the person, but you have to trust in the plan. Right. And so, what happens today or yesterday or last week is completely irrelevant to my plan. And you need to have the sanity to say, it doesn't matter what's happening in the market. It's not relevant to my plan. We have a plan, and we're going to execute that plan. And I know that sometimes that's difficult, and I'm pretty sure that you have been more therapist than financial planner lately, Chris.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For sure. This quote popped in my head, Benjamin Graham, and he said, one of the chief enemies of the average investor is most likely to be himself. And as a
so true, huh?
100%. And as a financial advisor, I think one of the biggest things that I bring to the table is rational thought process.
It's a good thing to have when you're talking your investments.
Yeah, well, there's so many different times that I'm going to work with you guys. There's going to be times where the market is really good and we're focused on, hey, we're making great money, so let's focus on the minutia. What does the plan look like? What other things should we be thinking about? When you get in volatile times like this, all of that stuff seems to go out the window for clients, and they narrow in on what are their investments doing and what is the market doing. And so it's my job during these time periods to kind of get them to realize what are the smart decisions they can make, the rational decisions, and move them as much as I can away from the emotional decisions, because emotions are running so high right now. I can't even tell you.
I could tell you. I mean, just looking at my own portfolio, I know of days where the average investor would have said, sell it all, Chris, I'm scared.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's not so bad. Overall, I mean, if I think about the big picture, that's not really bad at all. And I was like, oh, I'm actually pretty happy with where I'm at right now, considering what's happening in the marketplace. That's the other thing to take advantage to consider as well. It's like, okay, what's happening in the general marketplace and what's happened in my portfolio? It wasn't really that bad. And I don't mind telling people, I'm energy heavy. Okay, so if there's going to be a scary portfolio, it's going to be mine.
Yep.
Okay, but the reason I'm energy heavy is because it's good for long term. I'm not worried about next week. I'm worried about 20 years down the line. And guess what, guys? I don't see us stop using oil anytime soon.
Right. And that's one of the things I've noticed a lot lately is I'm getting clients that sat with me the first day we met, and they said, I'm aggressive. All I want to do is make money. It's all long term. I don't need this money for the long term. And then this happens, and the phone rings off the hook. Maybe I should move to cash. What should I do? I'm worried. What about China? What about this? What about that? And panic sets in even for those that believe they're long-term investors. Even those that believe they're aggressive investors, you read these articles that say the end of the world is coming, and people buy into it, and all rational thought goes out the window. So again, I come back to my job right now is to say, let's think rationally. Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the information. We're not going to be able to predict exactly what's going to happen, but let's fine tune the information that we're reading and we're making our decisions based off of, and let's make sure that we're making our decisions off educated, rational information versus just
based on their particular scenario,
and
their plan, because everybody's different. I mean, Gino's and mine are completely different,
right?
But we share, information back and forth. I mean, and the cool thing too, Chris, is working at. I say this all the time. Now that we've been working together, is when you have a 401k or an IRA or whatever, which are good things to have, but you're not engaged at all. You really aren't. You're just hoping that somewhere down the line, when I need that, it'll be there. But what's nice about, since we started working with you, I know Gino and I are both so much more engaged in the market and excited and want to contribute more to that because it's fun. We're actually involved with you on what's going on in the market, how are our stocks doing, what can we buy? And like this time, when these markets take these dives, instead of us panicking, you're going, this is a great opportunity, isn't it?
Right.
What should we be buying now that that stock just took a nosedive because everybody bailed out at a panic?
Right.
And then you can buy low, sell high. So now you got a lot of people panicking and wanting to bail out during the lows in the market, which is probably the opposite thing they should be doing.
Right. And another quote, just to throw a quote out there. So Warren Buffett said, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. And again, these
What would he know, though? Bill, multi-billionaire, one of the richest men in the world.
One of the most iconic investors of all time. Doesn't know anything.
And they've been beating him up lately because he hasn't been doing very well the last couple of years. He's been struggling. But you know what? He doesn't care. He knows what the long-term plan is, so he ignores that. But these buy low and sell high, these things that we say, everybody knows them.
Right.
But when that emotional decision-making process sets in, all of those things that they know start to go out the window. I got a call this morning from the opposite end. Market is rallying. We should be in. Let's get more money in. Let's buy now. And unfortunately, that's the exact opposite of where, now we're getting up to the upper end of the recent channel that we've been in.
Yep.
We're possibly going to see a pullback in the near term,
right,
with better buying opportunities over the next couple of months. But they see that rally and they say, hey, let's jump in. Whereas I'm throwing numbers at people like 1812 on the S&P 500. You start seeing 1850, 1812 on the S&P 500. Let's buy some stuff down there.
We talked about that.
Yeah. And so, but some people have a hard time wrapping their brain around that stuff. So again, it comes back to the fact that you have to find a financial advisor that you trust,
mm-hmm,
and that you believe is looking at all of this information and helping you make good decisions. And once you believe them and you start to trust them, you have to go along kind of with their plan. You can't continue to throw in your emotional decisions or emotional thoughts and change the plan along the way. It makes it very difficult to have progress going forward.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to question, and I think that creates rational thought as well.
Of course.
And say, and I know I come at you with some weird stuff, right? I come at you with like the most random things in the world. It's like, no one's even talked about those things for like 7 or 8 years, Gino. Why are you bringing that up? And I feel it's because you and I...
getting stock in Playboy right now? Really, Gino?
Hey, they're going to non-nude. Who knows? It might work.
It might.
Yeah.
And no paper.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, I'm bringing up things that are weird because those are things that are not attractive right now. So I think those are the things that I should be buying.
Right. Very true.
All right, you're here with the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show, and you can actually join us by going to donandgino.com. We have 3 HD cameras, thanks to AP Productions and Furman. And, of course, we have Lisa and Tina back behind the controls, making sure we're all ready to go for you because we have Chris Ingram with Ingram Financial Solutions. Give me some clarity and some, comfort.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind. Yeah. That's the word I was looking for, Gino. Thank you very much. And we're talking about a lot of you out there are confused by the market or panicking about the market, and we bring Chris in because I know he handles a lot of people here in our office and a lot of our clients now. And he gives me peace of mind. I know I have not had to pick up the phone and say, Chris, what the hell are we doing?
I haven't even looked at my account.
Yeah,
I know that's probably shameful, but...
Yeah, well, not in the long term. I mean, if you feel comfortable with what you purchased in the first place. So Chris Ingram's here to kind of give you a little bit better clarity about the markets and what the do's and don'ts are. And a lot of them are standard practice. A lot of them are things you already know. But Chris is going to help crystallize and help you feel better about where we're at and where you should be going and what you should be thinking about. So don't go away. We'll be right back.